Hey, everybody. I just wanted to kind of update everybody on what's going on with a lot of the immigration enforcement in the United States and how terrorist funders and those who support illegal immigration are attempting to avoid responsibility for their crimes. So, with that said, let's get started. Now, recently, the Pacific Standard reported, "Is ICE targeting activists?" A lawsuit alleging that immigration authorities infiltrated a Vermont-based advocacy group could have national ramifications. All right, so let's take a look at that real quick. According to the statement Immigrations and Customs Enforcement later released, undercover ICE agents had pulled over Balcazar to arrest the other person in the car, Zoe Palacios, who had overstayed her visa. Palacios was also a leader in migrant justice. While making this arrest, federal agents also encountered Balcazar, who was found at the time to be in violation of U.S. immigration laws. While there is a little bit more facts there, that's really the takeaway. These are the important facts to really talk about. If you break down everything else, you break down the journalistic commentary, basically the takeaway is this. A man was arrested for illegal immigration. He worked for an organization called Migrant Justice. The reason he was arrested is because he was in violation of immigration laws. Now, he was also with a leader from Migrant Justice who was here in the United States illegally, and she was arrested as well for violation of immigration laws. He's just pissed off because ICE held him accountable. He says he's targeted, and really, he's telling the truth. He was targeted because he's a criminal, because that's what ICE does. It's like a bank robber being upset because he robbed a bank and got caught. So now his organization, Migrant Justice, which apparently is an employer of illegal immigrants, is suing ICE. According to Common Dreams, and this is a press release from November 14th, 2018, all right? Lawsuit alleges ICE, DHS, and Vermont DMV targeting immigrant leaders in retaliation for activists. Activists? Activism, I guess. Let's just go with that, all right? Migrant justice leaders at risk of deportation for engaging in protected First Amendment activity. Last I checked, being a criminal is not a First Amendment activity, okay? Violation of federal laws is not a protected First Amendment activity. Let me kind of read this little section here, and we can talk a little bit more about it. Today, Vermont-based Migrant Justice, remember, they're an illegal immigrant employer, filed a lawsuit in federal court alleging U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, with the assistance of Vermont Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, conducted an unlawful, multi-year operation to surveil, harass, arrest, and detain the organization's members and leaders. Because, apparently overstaying your visa and being an illegal immigrant in the United States in violation of federal immigration laws, apparently that doesn't matter. Apparently, facts don't matter. So now we know. Those activities were undertaken in retaliation for the plaintiff's First Amendment speech and assembly, and in order to destabilize migrant justice and its successful organizing of Vermont's immigration farm workers. Well, you know what? If migrant justice is a criminal organization and they hire illegal immigrants and they are fomenting illegal immigration, I say they should be destabilized. Now we're going to go down to the end because this is kind of important. The plaintiffs are represented by the ACLU of Vermont, big surprise, the Center for Constitutional Rights, and the National Center for Law and Economic Justice, and the National Immigration Law Center, and Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher, LLP. Now, we can talk about that a little bit. Let's go up here and we'll go to the top. I kind of highlighted it again. We have an attorney here, William Lambic from Migrant Justice. We have Jan Nessel from the Center for Constitutional Rights. We have Lee Lotto, National Center for Law and Economic Justice, and we have Juan Gallistem. I'm not even going to try that. It's late in the day, and I don't care. National Immigration Law Center. All right. So these are the attorneys. Now, the takeaway here is Migrant Justice, who is an employer of illegal immigrants, which, by the way, is a crime, and the Center for Constitutional Rights. Now, why is that important? Well, as you guys know, I've been doing a kind of an expose on Antifa and on illegal immigration and how Antifa terrorists are working with illegal immigrants. And one of the things I brought up was the United for Equality and Affirmative Action Legal Defense Fund, which, by the way, is a gift that keeps on giving. Now, this is an affiliate of BAM. If you look on the left-hand side in the purple at the bottom, it says UEAF AALDF is an affiliate of BAM. Now, again, the reason that this is the gift that keeps on giving, number one, is because, once again, PayPal facilitates payments to this terrorist organization. The Department of Homeland Security has said that Antifa are terrorists. There are news articles about it. I've done prior videos about it. I did Overthrowing Democracy by Any Means Necessary. I talked about how the Southern Poverty Law Center funds this terrorist organization. And to support that, I use this page. Now, why am I back here? It's because the Center for Constitutional Rights also funds Antifa, which I showed in my hour-long video, Overthrowing Democracy by Any Means Necessary, is working with illegal immigrants. They are human traffickers. They are in violation of the federal laws of every state from Honduras to the United States. In addition to that, they've been designated as a terrorist organization. The Center for Constitutional Rights, they're criminals. Why they are allowed to operate being funders of terrorism? They donate to Antifa, all right? Now, here's the problem. Antifa has been targeting ICE. Now, we've heard about this in the mainstream news, but Commotion, if you go to commotion.world, that's what this website is. They have a whole section called Know Your Enemies, all right? They're targeting ICE. Look at this. ICE and Border Patrol infrastructure. Who's behind ICE? If you look right down here, I'm going to highlight it. You know, at the very top blue, it says, who's behind ICE? The tech companies fueling deportation, 15 organizations that do business with ICE, and ICE agents with LinkedIn profiles. Now, this list right here, I'm not going to click on it, is a list of 1,600 ICE employees. It has the address of where they work. It has their name. It has their title. It even has profile pictures. Now, here's the other side of that. It's got an entire map. Look at this map. And again, welcome to the one take video. So here we go. All right. So this is the ICE infrastructure map. And if you look and you click on any section here, it's got their field offices all over. All right. They've marked it. This is a target map. Okay. This is why ICE is concerned about Antifa. Antifa have been designated terrorists. Okay. All right. They even state Safariland also has several offices and factories across the country. We have included some of them below so that others may continue to hold them accountable for their role in attacking asylum seekers. So they don't give a shit about the federal law. They actually see the enforcement of federal laws, the laws of the United States, as attack. That's why if you look at the top, it says know your enemies. Again, this is a concern. Now, when I talk about ICE agents with LinkedIn profiles, there's been some articles that were written about this in early January about how a couple people were responsible for providing everybody with the identities of these ICE agents. And the reality is that this is crowdsourced, and it's been crowdsourced by big tech. Now, GitHub, this site's been since taken down. This is an archive of that site. This is from Anti-Boredom. Now, Anti-Boredom /ICE-LinkedIn, if you look at the page, okay, this was an Antifa site that created a GitHub project to target ICE. It's a data set of LinkedIn members who work for ICE. Now, if you scroll down, you'll see it says LinkedIn Scraper, which means they actually created a scraper program that anybody can use to target members of ICE. Not only do you target the members of ICE, you can actually locate them. So if you don't even know who these people are, and you have a LinkedIn account, you can run this program and it'll pull up all the public names of people who have ICE in their profile. So this is crowdsourced. This is exactly the type of thing they're doing. These are people who work in tech who are creating this stuff. They are working with Antifa. This is a crime because, again, you know, these people, they want to control our country. They want to replace our voters with illegal immigrants so that they can take control of the country. And creating this app in order to target people is, I think, a crime. I mean, they're doing this to overthrow the government. And I go into a lot of detail about this in my prior video, Overthrowing Democracy by Any Means Necessary, and the Southern Poverty Law Center finances terrorists. And the reality is that the Center for Constitutional Rights, not only are they financing terrorism and financing crime, but they're actually criminals themselves because they are willfully violating criminal law, okay? They fund crime, so they are criminals, all right? And as far as that is concerned, I've talked about this a lot before in my prior videos. Go back and review them. I'm not going to go through these laws in much detail here other than to cite them. and that's U.S. Code 18, subsection 235, advocating overthrow of the government. This is a crime. Even teaching people how to commit crime and advocating it, that's a crime also. That's what the Center of Constitutional Rights is doing. They're financing crime, and under this law, they are criminals. And in addition to that, if they are accomplices, or if they finance it, under U.S. Code subsection 2, under principles, it says, whoever commits an offense against the United States, aids, abets, counsels, you hearing that there, Center for Constitutional Rights attorneys? Procures its commission. You hear that, Center for Constitutional Rights? You are financing the commission of a crime. Whoever willfully causes an act to be done, which if done directly performed by him or another would be an offense against the United States, is punishable as a principle. So they're not punishable as accomplices. They are punishable as though they committed the crimes themselves. Okay? When the Center for Constitutional Rights funded Antifa, which BAM is an affiliate of Antifa, when the Center for Constitutional Rights did this, they became criminals. And more importantly, this lawsuit right here, the one that the Center for Constitutional Rights is representing, as well as Migrant Justice, both of those organizations become accessories after the fact under 18 U.S. Code 18, subsection 3. Whoever, knowing that an offense against the United States has been committed, receives, relieves, comforts, or assists the offender in order to hinder or prevent his apprehension, trial, or punishment, is an accessory after the fact. All right? This particular lawsuit makes it very clear. Okay? Migrant justice leaders at risk of deportation. That's what they're trying to do. They're using this lawsuit to hinder the enforcement of our criminal laws. They are accessories after the fact. Now, let's talk about what's needed to convict these people. Because again, every time you listen to cucked government officials, they're like, well, you have to understand, DDJ, this is a complex sort of thing. We have laws we have to follow, and it's a little bit more complicated. And I'm like, you know what? You're full of shit. No, it's not. All right? And you could be a booger-eating moron, because I'll tell you what, the Department of Justice actually has resources for this. And this is the Criminal Resource Manual that they have online that anybody in the public can look at. This is their justice manual from the Department of Justice in the United States. Now, there are 4 elements to prove aiding and abetting a crime. And this is, again, from the Department of Justice. You could be a brand new attorney, open up this resource manual and be like, holy shit, now I know how to litigate. So element 1, the accused had specific intent to facilitate the commission of a crime by another. Well, absolutely. The Center for Constitutional Rights funded Antifa. Antifa, years ago, was designated as terrorists by the Department of Homeland Security. Antifa members have been arrested attempting to overthrow the government for years. The only difference is they're not charged with this crime for attempting to overthrow the government. They're charged for things like disturbing the peace and misdemeanors and just crap like that, because nobody has the balls to actually hold them accountable for their terrorism. So that's element 1. Element 2, that the accused had the requisite intent of the underlying substantive offense. Well, absolutely they did. Absolutely. They knew about Antifa. They chose to fund them anyway. They knew that these people from Migrant Justice were violating federal immigration laws. They funded them anyway. And specifically, BAM, when you look here at UEAA-LDF, BAM, they actually helped with the migrant caravans. And they were responsible for the Thanksgiving rush of our southwest border. So element 2 is there. And on top of that, financing proves intent. Element 3, that the accused assisted or participated in the commission of the underlying substantive offense. And number 4, that someone committed the underlying offense. Well, let's talk about that. According to Commotion, again, we go back to Commotion, the Antifa site, and you look at the resources, and you scroll down, and you see this one hot link. It's ICE and La Casa. Let's click that link and see where we go. Well, what do you know? It opens up a document in Spanish helping people understand their rights. Now, what's interesting about this document was given out to members of the migrant caravan. The Center for Constitutional Rights distributed this document. They worked with the migrant caravan. They financed BAM. The Immigrant Defense Project also worked with these people, provided them with free legal advice, okay? And illegal immigrants from the caravan illegally crossed the border. So a crime was committed. These flyers were handed out to illegals in Mexico in Spanish. Their staff were present helping these illegals. I think that what should happen is that the Center for Constitutional Rights as part of an investigation into their financing of Antifa terrorism, they need to have their office raided. I think that their members need to be charged with federal crimes, including the attorneys, and they should be locked up. There is no excuse to not enforce our laws in the United States. This is not about racism. This is not about civil rights. Listen, there is no civil right to commit federal crime. There isn't one. So this idea that these people can file a lawsuit because they got caught for violating federal laws, that doesn't even pass the straight face test. I'm DDJ, and this has been your dose of misandry today.